season for the Braves didn't turn out to be one for the Mets. And this year the Braves starting to run away with the National League East, although there's plenty of time for someone to catch up, namely the Phillies. The Mets are hoping just to get back in the race right now.
Well, the Mets have a tall climb, but they just have to win series, and it's simple. I love what Carlos Mendoza says. He says we're seeing bright spots from guys here and there, but the bottom line is you have to win series here on out and really try to chip away from the deficit. But hopefully if you have McLean and guys really start to give you some length in that rotation, because the bullpen has absolutely been taxed over the last couple of weeks. They're going to have to lean on the starters.
StatCast powered by Google Cloud. Nolan McLean's pitch arsenal starts with that sinker. He likes to end it with that curveball.
You know what? We talked about that in the pregame show. That curveball is one of the best in all of baseball, but that sinker, when he throws it on the plate, opponents are hitting 183. That's such a big pitch. Also slowing these Brave hitters down. If he doesn't throw strikes, it's going to be a tall order, because these Braves hitters do a good job of passing the baton and having the timely hits as well.
Our pitcher scouting report presented by CarShield. You see the reference to Cowboy Ohtani. He was actually a two-way player at Oklahoma State when he was in college. He hit a little bit in the minor leagues too for the Mets. You know, we saw his second major league start in Atlanta last year, the only other time he's ever faced the Braves. He pitched well in that game, but before that game we asked Carlos Mendoza if he'd ever consider giving McLean an at-bat. He said absolutely not.
But sometimes that helps us pitchers who are National League guys.
Well, you should have talked him into it.
To see what the hitters are thinking, but McLean understands the importance of his pitching, staying healthy.
The Atlanta Braves starting lineup presented by BetMGM. Mauricio Dubon's in that leadoff spot without Ronald Acuna Jr. hurt again. Acuna, a hamstring injury, putting him on the IL. But Matt Olson's in there. His 851st consecutive game played here tonight, batting third. I don't think enough gets made of that consecutive game stretch. It's been a long one now for Olson, one of the longest of all time.
A beast defensively, and we know what he can do offensively. He leads all of baseball in extra base hits thus far.
Well, here's a really good player that goes under the radar, Mauricio Dubon. He's playing left field for the Braves here tonight. And on the first pitch of the game, he takes ball one. A 1 hour and 21 minute delay officially from the scheduled start time. Actually 1 hour and 16 minutes. I forgot it was 7:15, not 7:10 tonight. And there's a strike to Dubon. Now, Dubon's won that utility Gold Glove award. He can play all over the place, infield and outfield, and he gives the Braves some options with Acuna out. Bounces this one toward the middle. It's Marcus Semien, a short-handed infielder in his own right, throwing out Dubon. What a way.
See, that's what I mean about the sinker. That first pitch out of the game, Dubon can tell that's a ball out of his hand. You have to trust, if you're McLean, you have to trust the movement and throw to the thirds of the plate to be able to pitch the contact and get that soft contact like he did right there.
Nolan McLean had a 60% ground ball rate last year, which was, well, I guess not technically his rookie season, didn't qualify for rookie status, but just a 45% ground ball rate this year, not quite as high as what we saw last year. Ball one to Michael Harris II, who's putting together an all-star campaign. 1 ball, 1 strike now on Harris. There have been some ebbs and flows offensively. No ebbs and flows defensively. He's one of the best outfielders out there. But ebbs and flows offensively. He's flowing, though, right now.
Hard hit rate has gone up from last year from 43% to 52%. He just looks more comfortable, and as you can see, strike zone awareness has gotten better as well.
Walt Weiss calls it a maturation process unfolding. The still pretty young Harris, who came up to the big leagues extremely young. Swings over top there, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. These pinkish skies will take that over the dark gray that we had here about an hour and a half ago.
I was a little worried we wasn't going to get this ball game in.
Well, worry no more. 2 balls, 2 strikes. As that breaking ball is fouled at home plate. We know McLean likes to put hitters away with that curveball. Opponents have done virtually nothing with that curveball against McLean since he entered the major leagues.
Yeah, that's a neutralizer to the left-handed batter. He can throw it under the strike zone, under the swing path as well. This one, you see the grip right there. 1 finger. Trying to get that ball to go north and south, but he has the ability to go to east and west with that breaking ball as well.
Opponents are 5 for 63 on that curveball in McLean's career. This year 3 for 36 with 25 strikeouts. And lefties forget it.
just hope that it's a ball.
Well, Harris was lucky to get a piece of the last one. 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike three, and there it was. That dastardly curveball drops out of strike and strikes out Harris.
I try to tell you, man, the pregame show is up in the locker room, Weezy. I told you that. He's going to go to that nasty breaking ball. He showed the sinker that ran away, changed Harris's eye level, and then all of a sudden back down right under the nitro zone of the left-handed power.
Brings up Matt Olson, mentioned his 851st consecutive game played. Remember when Cal Ripken broke the streak, they had to wait until the 5th inning to check it off officially. They don't have to do that anymore. Game would just pick up where it left off regardless. So check it off for Matt Olson. This is number 851 in a row. Still a long way from Ripken, but a very impressive streak nonetheless. He's behind here 0-2.
And a lot like Cal, you're the focal point of the offense during this streak. McClain already doing a good job of being aggressive, of getting ahead from him, spun the slider. The bigger breaking ball, but he's a true weapon. And growing up in Oakland and talking to a lot of Brave fans, I say you're going to be happy with Tim.
And they have been, but McClain punches him out, and that's a 1-2-3 top of the 1st inning. Nolan McClain fans too. We're underway at Citi Field. Here are the Mets starting lineup presented by BetMGM. Carson Benj has settled into that leadoff spot. Juan Soto broke out of a mini slump with his home run yesterday against the Cardinals, giving the Mets a win, avoiding a sweep from St. Louis in that series. Mets will take on Spencer Strider here tonight, a guy who has not pitched all that well against the Mets. A 6.11 career ERA against New York. Strike to Benj. 96 from Strider. Doesn't have that huge fastball that he had a few years ago, but he still throws it pretty firm, and that slider is still a weapon along with his changeup.
Yeah, 51% whiff rate on that slider. Very important pitch, but already showing that he has good velo and commanded that fastball early.
Yeah, 2 fastballs in 96 to set up Benj, who's done well as the Mets leadoff hitter, batting .311 with 37 runs scored since taking over that spot a month ago. He strikes out here on 3 pitches, all fastballs, and it was a foul tip to end the at-bat for Benj.
It was a perfect time to go in that pitch mix, and you know he's going to have that fastball, but he trusts it. He's going to play anywhere from 95 to 97 miles an hour. We talked about the slider and the nasty changeup. I think he's going to lean on more of his secondary once he gets to the lineup, wants to be able to get that changeup and that breaking ball going as well.
StatCast powered by Google Cloud. Walks up Bo Bichette. He had a good cut at that one, but fouled it back. No balls and a strike. You were a 20-game winner in the major leagues. Spencer Strider won 20 games in 2023. He is the last major league pitcher to win 20 games in a season.
Because it's hard to win one. First and foremost, I mean, health is wealth. You have to be on a good ball club. Buy a lot of food spreads, whatever it takes for those guys to battle for you, but it's very difficult. And he's battled injuries, and a lot like me, after winning those games, you want to feel like you win 20 every single year. And so, not saying you take it for granted, but it's very difficult to win one major league ball game. But he has the stuff as long as he's able to move forward and stay healthy and find what works for him, because he is a true weapon. And it still feels like he's working his way back to getting to that velocity. Maybe he gets back to that. Maybe that's a trick to making him more of a complete pitcher.
Here's Bichette with a fly ball left field. It's way back, and Bo Bichette puts the Mets up 1-0. As the Mets hope to take off, they're going to need Bo Bichette to do a lot more of that.
1,000% stood up on him. Now that looked like Toronto Blue Jays Bichette right there. Squared up a baseball up. Yes, he likes to attack pitches, whether in the zone or out of the zone, but if he gets some pull side pitches, that's what he can do.
Home run number 7 for Bo Bichette on the season.
I'm not gonna lie, I like the home run celebrations.
All 1 to Juan Soto. Soto was celebrating a go-ahead home run in the game yesterday against St. Louis. Soto had been just 3 for his first 32 in the month of June until then. And he continues to put up gargantuan numbers. As he swings and misses here, 1 ball and 1 strike. It was said about Soto after the game yesterday by Luke Weaver, if you are playing MLB The Show, don't bother creating a player, just pick Juan Soto. One ball, 2 strikes on Soto. This was his home run yesterday.
Talked about this, Wayne, in the open. It doesn't matter left-handed, right-handed. His ability for pitch recognition, mid-flight, elongate his swing and still have power, run the bases well. Whatever you need to be that complete player, that's what he is.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Soto, who has a remarkable eye. Bo Bichette also hit a home run yesterday. It was a first-inning homer for Bichette yesterday afternoon, and there's one again here tonight. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Soto. That one skips in there from Strider, 3-2. You don't need a lot of help to walk Juan Soto. He will take his free passes. He's walked more than anybody in the history of the game before his 28th birthday. Three balls and 2 strikes. And Soto rocks one to right on a high line drive. It's gone. Back-to-back homers. Bichette and Soto get it started in New York.
And Strider challenging Wayne, and he lost. He tried to throw 2 changeups against Juan Soto to chase down in the zone. Got himself in a hitter-friendly count, and Strider said, here's the fastball, and Juan Soto got his foot down early and turned him around.
Both have hit home runs in back-to-back days, and in this case in back-to-back at-bats. Here's Jared Young popping one up to the shortstop Kim, and that's the second out here in the first inning. But if the Mets are going to make any sort of move, if another big turnaround is in them like we saw 2 years ago, it has to start with the stars on this team, guys like Bo Bichette and Juan Soto.
23 home runs over the last 13 ball games coming into this ball game. You've seen the power surge, and if you keep these guys with a 1-2 punch healthy, man, it's going to be infectious in that locker room, in that dugout. You're seeing the energy, you're seeing the passion. They can chip away with these 2 guys at the helm.
Well, the Mets reiterated that Francisco Lindor is also going to be back sooner than later. He's doing a little bit more now as baseball activities are ramping up, and they expect him back certainly before the All-Star break and likely before the end of this month. This is the rookie A.J. Ewing, who has taken over center field over the last few weeks. 1 ball and 1 strike on Ewing. He's at .357 over his last 8 games. Two balls and a strike. Second time this year the Mets with back-to-back home runs. The other time was opening day. It was Benj and Alvarez. Benj with his first major league homer that day. And Francisco Alvarez took part in that. In the first game of the season against the Pirates. 2 balls and a strike. But is this an opening day of sorts? You know, June 12th's been kind of a weird date for the Mets the last couple of years. 2 years ago, Grimace showed up. They had that incredible run all the way to the NLCS. Last year on the same date, it was the beginning of a downfall that they never recovered from.
Whatever good luck charm the Masons have, bring them to the stadium. They're going to need all of it.
Strider with a strikeout to end the inning, but the Mets strike Strider. Back-to-back home runs. Bo Bichette with the first blow against Spencer Strider as the Mets grabbed the early lead, and then it was Juan Soto with a rocket. 2-0, the Mets up after 1. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV is presented by Goodyear. Juan Soto and Bo Bichette with first inning home runs for the Mets. Back-to-back home runs at that. 2-0 lead as Ozzie Albies looks at a strike from Nolan McLean, gifted with some offense to start here tonight. 1-1 on Albies, who's provided some punch of his own for the Braves. Been to a few All-Star games. He's had some really good seasons. He's had some average years as well. It seems like what you're seeing with this Braves club is that they have a roster full of talent, and it's just difficult to be really good from year to year. So you see some guys have really good years, then maybe just an average or a little bit above average season, and then they come back with another great season. We're seeing that from Harris. We're seeing it from Albies. Maybe we're seeing it on the other side with Austin Riley, who is kind of on a downtick right now. But would it shock you to see Riley have a big second half and go back to where he was?
They're going to be tough to beat if Austin Riley returns to form of a couple of years ago, because a couple of years ago he was always a dark horse in that hot spot of third base and the power. But this is a very deep lineup. They got 6 to 7 guys that can beat you on any given day. Albies is hitting .333 over his last 15 games, 9 RBIs, and so if I'm pitching against this lineup, there's no one that I can just, take a breath and say, okay, I can be aggressive. You have to have a pitch mix and a plan every single batter, every single pitch, because they have the ability to grind you down because of their experience and their talent as well.
3 balls and 2 strikes on Albies. And I guess the point is that when it comes to this sport, just because a guy has 30 homers and 100 RBIs in one season doesn't mean he's going to do it every season. In some cases may never do it again, or in some cases it may take a couple of years before he does do it again.
I won 20 games, and it took me 7 years to win 20 more games. So you're absolutely right.
That 3-2 breaking ball goes to the backstop, and it's ball 4 to Albies as McLean issues a leadoff walk. Torrens wanted to peel on the swing, but Albies did not go around.
Yeah, this is a slider, the breaking ball that Carlos Mendoza talked about. It looked like it nipped Albies' leg back right above the knee.
You kind of see Torrens' point there. That bat came across home plate.
Yeah, I think the screen sold it. Very important for McLean. Shut down innings, always important for a starter, especially if they give you a lead in a home ballpark.
The former Met Dominic Smith stands in. He is the designated hitter for the Braves, and he's filled in nicely, especially against right-handed pitching this year. Strike 1 comes into Smith. High draft pick and a big prospect early in his career coming through the Mets system. Most productive at times as a Met. He might be the most productive he's ever been right now, batting .291 for Atlanta. No balls and 2 strikes, and a guy that was always considered a pretty pure hitter coming in.
Well, the Braves is an organization where they can, receive guys, talk about just the approach, whether it's pitching or hitting, and all of a sudden they research to get better. And so that's the credit of just the lifeblood of this organization and why they've been consistently good year after year for a very long time.
No balls and 2 strikes on Smith. Something that there's a throw to first that gets away. Albies will go to second base. Looked like that throw was right there for the first baseman Jared Young. Not sure what happened on that throw to first, but Albies gets an extra base and an error on the Mets.
Those are the plays so far that has hindered the Mets. Oh, it was this movement, kind of handcuffed Young, and he's like, wow, throw that to the plate.
Called it an error on the pitcher initially, but there's no way that's an error on the pitcher. He threw it right to him. So it should be an error on the first baseman Young, and now Albies in scoring position. 1 ball, 2 strikes the count on Smith. Goes the other way and grounds a base hit to left. Albies heads for the plate. The Braves get on the board right away after the Mets error and a leadoff walk. Dominic Smith drives in a run against his former team, and it's 2-1 New York.
See, that's the difference, Wade. It took 2 pitches later to be able to get that run and make that mistake hurt already, and that's the difference between a team that's really trying to fight back and learning from their mistakes and a championship caliber team. Recognizes a breaking ball mid-flight, doesn't try to get big on the swing, sees the hole to the left side. That's professional hitting, especially with runners in scoring position.
Brings up Austin Riley as he takes ball 1. It's difficult to comprehend Riley's offense right now, hitting .206. You know what this guy is capable of. Certainly Mets fans do. He's done a lot of damage against the Mets and in this ballpark. For a 3-year period, he was in the top 7 in MVP voting every year in 2021, 22, and 23. He was one of the most feared hitters in the sport at over 100 homers and 100 doubles in those 3 seasons. He's had some injuries the last couple of years. Had core surgery last year, but this year he's healthy. Just the results are not there for Riley the way that they usually are.
And he's an extremely hard worker. This whole group is. That's baseball, and you have to continue to just try to grind it out and see if you can feel something to really get you going.
Fouls this one back, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes on Riley. And that's what I mean. Would it shock you to see Austin Riley have a big second half? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And then you pair that with Matt Olson and Harris, and you get Acuna Jr. back in that lineup. That's a very deep and experienced lineup.
Well, this Braves team can go all the way, certainly. 3-2 on Riley, and they just did 5 years ago. They were the world champs in 2021. And they have everything that it takes now to go the distance, let alone whatever happens at the trade deadline. 3-2, and Riley takes ball 4. So a couple of walks for McLean, plus an error and an RBI single. The Braves have a run in with 2 on here and nobody out. It'll be Mike Yastrzemski batting after we send it down to Heidi.
Yeah, well, you mentioned Austin Riley had season-ending sports hernia surgery last August, and it's a tough injury to return from. I've spoken to a number of big leaguers coming back from those core and hip-related injuries. They say it takes a full year to finally feel better. But Riley told me today he's not really bothered by it anymore. He said he had a really good rehab. He doesn't think about the surgery. He said he didn't feel right at the plate for a long time to start the season, but lately he thinks he's getting there.
Well, that's good news for the Braves, who already have put together a tremendous first half at 45 and 23. And we've seen Nolan McLean walk a couple of hitters. The command hasn't been all that great for McLean lately. He's had some games where the walks have gone up, 5 against Miami in his last home start. Asked Carlos Mendoza before the game today, do his pitches move too much? Is he kind of out of control sometimes with how much his stuff moves? Strike to Yastrzemski. And Mendy said, well, maybe a little bit, but you also, it makes him him. You can't really take that away from him either.
The ability to spin the baseball and maneuver it is important, but you just have to really be critical of the target. And that's what I mean by setting thirds and not setting on corners, because sometimes if you're looking at the catcher's shin guards and you want to work that sinker, if it's on the shin when you release with that movement, it's going to be a non-competitive ball once it gets in the hitting zone. And so just where you're throwing that critical every pitch.
1 ball 2 strikes on Mike Yastrzemski, who will get some more playing time, you figure, with Acuna out as well, playing in right field today. So the last 2 starts have been better, but a lot of walks even in those 2 starts. McLean had a couple of really rough outings in the middle of May. It's 2 balls 2 strikes on Yastrzemski. Breezed through the first inning tonight, 1-2-3, with then a leadoff walk here in the second. There was an errant pickoff attempt at first, which put Albies in scoring position. Dominic Smith knocked him in. And since then, a walk to Riley as well. Still no outs. And a full count on Yastrzemski.
And you're starting to see, especially the left-handed Braves hitters, they're starting to take that breaking ball because he's yet to really land it consistently for a strike. And so that's the game plan. And if you're having trouble with the sinker and the breaking ball, it's going to be tough.
Ground ball, base hit to right, past a diving Jared Young. Smith rounds third. He heads home with the tying run. Moving to third base is Riley. The Braves come right back. 2 runs here in the second. Mike Yastrzemski ties it up.
This is a cutter that really didn't get in. The cement mix right over the middle of the plate. Yastrzemski's out there trying to cover the fastball. Riley does a nice little hopscotch to let that ball get through, and now we have a new big league Wago.
It's 23 pitches already in this inning and nobody out. Here's Ha-Sung Kim, who takes ball 1. Kim playing short tonight, although Jorge Mateo gets a lot of time there. Mateo, another one of those guys like Dominic Smith, and they hope that Kim is like this too. That just has a different sort of being as a member of the Braves. 2 balls, no strikes. Walt Weiss talked about it earlier, a place that players can come to, relax, and maybe find their best version of themselves.
He says that's the biggest part of managing, is knowing the personalities, knowing how to figure out how each player ticks, how to talk to them, and really get the best out of them.
Strike to Kim, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Kim was certainly well liked by the Padre fan base and won a Gold Glove in 2023. Serving as a utility infielder right now for Atlanta. 2-1. It's ball 3.
Too much movement with the sinker, getting under the sinker. That's why it's taking off to the arm side. He's trying to get more glove side movement to stay on the plate. You can see the target is basically middle.
Kim fouls this one, and it's out of play. 3-2. And it's the kind of laborious inning that will shorten your night and force the bullpen in. And the Mets have had to use their bullpen a lot, even though it's been a serviceable, even good bullpen this year. Still, the innings catch up to you and they take a toll. They've thrown the 5th most innings of any bullpen in baseball. Three balls, 2 strikes on Ha-Seong Kim. And that's ball 4. The 3rd walk of the inning loads the bases. Still no outs. And Carlos Mendoza on the horn. That's the last thing he wants right now.
Yeah, catastrophic, because now the pitch count is going up, and you guarantee that this is going to be a short outing for McLean, and still no outs.
Austin Wins is at the plate now. Looks at a strike. The pitch that looked inside. Wins is the catcher right now. Drake Baldwin could be back soon. Baldwin has already started his rehab assignment at AAA, so it shouldn't be too long for Baldwin to come back. Wins couldn't hold his swing there, and it's 0-2. Baldwin is exceptional.
Oh my goodness. You want to talk about MVP candidates? Well, everything he was doing while some guys in that lineup was struggling. He was hitting almost 330 at one point. Bat to ball skills is elite, and game calling, pitch framing, you name it.
And the rookie of the year last year in the National League. As Wins fights off another. So over 30 pitches now in the inning, still no outs. Mets do have their bullpen starting up.
You're starting to get a red line area, throwing that many pitches in one inning.
Bases loaded, no outs, 2 runs are home, no balls, 2 strikes. And Wins punches out of the breaking ball, so McLean finally gets an out. Now he'll have to deal with the top of the order.
That whole of bat was set up by getting ahead with the sinker. Then he went back to the breaking ball to get ahead 0-2. That's excellent. Excellent depth change down on top of the plate.
Here's Dubon, who grounded out his first time. He takes ball 1. Now ball 2. McLean very wild in this inning.
Dumont is almost like he's anticipating that sinker to run in on him. He's bailing out just to try to get his body through there, and maybe get this barrel inside the plate.
It's the 3rd straight start for McLean with at least 3 walks. Mentioned the 5 that he had in Miami on May 31st. That's not close. Ball 3. Dubon does not walk a lot. He's a free swinger, but I think he'll take at least 1 pitch here, maybe 2. It's a called strike. Although had Dubon challenged that, he might have had an RBI. 3 balls, 1 strike with the bases loaded. And Dubon pops it up. The pitch might have been off the plate as well. This is Young at first with the infield fly rule. 2 down, a big out for McLean.
Huge out, and that's what I said about Dubon. He was jumping out because he figured that that running action, that sinker was going to go inner half. You see that leg open up, and it's almost a stutter step. I'm impressed that he even hit that baseball like that.
Well, he also bailed out on the 3-0 pitch. I don't think he got a good look at whether or not it was challengeable. And that pitch definitely would have been ball 4. So here's Harris with the bases loaded as he takes strike 1 from McLean. McLean's thrown a career high in pitches for a single inning here in the second. He's up to 38 now, but he could at least minimize the damage and keep this game even if he retires Harris. Good pick by Torrens.
Torrens excellent back there. Supreme athlete. Gold Glove finalist last year.
Harris has been good in his career at the bases loaded. This Braves team generally has been good with runners in scoring position. The best in baseball. Harris bounces it to first. It is a foul ball. Atlanta batting .285 with runners in scoring position this year. That leads the major leagues. They were just 2 for 17 in their series against the White Sox, losing both games with last night's 3rd game rained out. Three walks, 2 singles, an error, which has now been switched to an error on the first baseman. 2 runs home in the inning for Atlanta. 1 and 2 on Harris. And he punches it foul. When you have a long inning like this, how much does fatigue set in when you get to 35, 40 pitches or more?
In a nice day, it's a lot. This is a very humid day. You can see McLean continue to wipe the sweat off, dig deep. Not only with the arm strength, but with your legs as well. And that's why you're seeing the fastball start to creep up. He's having a tough time getting that pitch down in the zone. And you're telling yourself, dig deep. And if you're Harris, you're hoping that he hangs a breaking ball up in the zone.
1 ball, 2 strikes. That's a called 3rd strike at the bottom of the zone to win the inning. Atlanta ties it, but they also had the bases loaded, no outs with 2 runs home and didn't score any more. Dominic Smith and Mike Yastrzemski with RBIs to make it 2-2. Welcome back. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV, presented by Goodyear. With Dontrell Willis and Heidi Watney, I'm Wayne Randazzo. We're at Citi Field, where it was very hot this afternoon. We got a little summer storm and it's cooled off a little, but still pretty humid.
I had flashbacks to South Florida.
Yeah, it feels like Miami weather here today. Marcus Semien takes ball 1 from Spencer Strider. And Semien leads off the bottom of the second.
5 home runs for Semien in the last 15 ball games, only 3 the first 53, so he's looking more comfortable in the power department.
This is a guy in his prime that was a really dangerous hitter. He turned into a very good defender as he got older as well. One ball and 2 strikes. Finished 3rd in MVP voting just 3 years ago when the Texas Rangers won the World Series. And he finished 3rd in MVP voting back in 2021 as well. So it's a really excellent seasons. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's 2-2 on Semien, now 35 years old, and starts to catch up to you.
When he first came up in Oakland, being an Oakland, California guy, you knew the offensive prowess was there, but defensively he wasn't as confident, and he really worked at that.
It's this one sharply but foul. A breakout year in 2019, back when he was with those Oakland A's. Wins, though. This was a strike.
Catcher's challenging the ball.
Braves challenge powered by T-Mobile, and Wins was right. It is strike 3.
Calls overturned. Atlanta will have 2 challenges.
Yeah, Wins didn't like how he received that pitch, but his strike zone awareness was excellent, and he did not hesitate to challenge that pitch.
So Simeon is the 3rd strikeout victim for Strider. Interesting what you picked up on there from Austin Wins, that he probably thought he didn't frame it right to get the strike to begin with, but knew it was there anyway. One away here in the bottom of the 2nd. Brett Beatty bats. Beatty playing 3rd base. Not a lot of offense from Beatty. It looked like he was headed in the right direction in the 2nd half of last year. And has not carried over to this season. He's only had 3 home runs, just a .619 OPS. Flies this one to left field. I figure the ball will carry a bit here tonight with this humid air, but Dubon under that as Beatty flies out. 2 up, 2 down here in the 2nd. Right now we'll head to our studio. Here's Lauren Gardner.
Yeah, Wayne, let's get you out to Milwaukee, where Jacob Misiorowski, no surprise here, is dealing against the Philadelphia Phillies. Here he gets Crawford to strike out, swinging for his 12th of the night, tying a career high. How about this? Earlier in the game, he's throwing 105.
Did that just say 103?
Well, one of them said 105. He hit 105 tonight.
Oh, man, that's some serious firepower with Harrison and company. They got some weapons in that rotation, that's for sure.
I know Shohei's doing everything he can to try to win the Cy Young this year, but Jacob Misiorowski is on another planet right now. He has struck out 12 of the 18 batters that he has faced tonight. He has 128 strikeouts in 84 innings with only 42 hits allowed. He's allowing just 1 hit every 2 innings.
He's starting to put up those high school numbers.
He is. And if he makes every start and stays healthy, or even close to every start, I don't know if he continues at a pace like that, how anyone, even Shohei, could take the Cy Young away from Misiorowski if he continues on this track. 0-2 on Melendez.
Off.
Melendez has 4 extra base hits his last 32 games.
Smack to right, a base hit over the head of Olsen into the right field corner as Yastrzemski goes to dig it out. MJ Melendez hits for 2nd base, and he has a 2-out double.
Now let's make it 5. Getting that fastball out over the plate. Strider wanted this fastball down and away. Melendez doing a great job of taking advantage of that mistake. Middle.
Melendez in scoring position with 2 outs. Luis Torrens stands in. Torrens behind the plate tonight. Francisco Alvarez recently came back earlier than anticipated from having meniscus surgery. Mets are trying to keep Alvarez as healthy as possible. Give him some days off. Give Torrens an opportunity to catch more. Torrens is a good handler of the pitching staff. Great receiver behind the plate.
Catcher's challenging the ball.
Austin Wins wants to challenge this one as well. He's right again.
And that down and away to that right-hand batter. He's got that zone dialed in.
Wins is ready to just play like Sandlot ball and call your own balls and strikes.
Well, he having a challenge on the Sandlot too, and he'd be right.
No balls and a strike on Torrens.
Fastball by Strider after throwing 2 breaking balls to the glove side, allowing that ability for the fastball to play up inner half.
Check swing, and Torrens held out. Alan Porter, the crew chief at first base, says no swing. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Luis Torrens. Bounced off the glove of Strider. It slows down behind him, and the Braves have no play. So Torrens gets an infield hit, as Strider was able to field that ball off the bat for an infield single.
Listen, Wayne, pitchers are athletes too, but I see why infielders get mad when we get in the way, because obviously Hassan Kim had to jump on that.
That's an out if he lets it go.
Once it tips off the glove, perfect chip shot, and now it elongates the inning.
Strider had to reach behind his body there and looked at his glove as if it committed an act of betrayal against him there. So the Mets keep it going. Runners on first and third with 2 outs, and they get it back to Carson Benj as the leadoff hitter looks at strike 1. And neither Strider nor McLean has been all that sharp here in the early going. Almost hit Benj. Bichette is on deck. He and Soto hit back-to-back home runs in the first inning.
You can tell by each starter's pitch count, they're not feeling sharp with the sequencing and getting ahead of hitters.
Benj is hit by the pitch, and that loads the bases.
Time for a mound visit.
And on cue, the former Mets pitching coach Jeremy Hefner heads to the mound to have a chat with Strider here. He's clipped Benj on the elbow pad. We take a look at our Adobe standout scores. Bo Bichette and Juan Soto going back-to-back in the bottom of the first.
Yeah, the Amazing's flexing their muscle. One on a slider, and then all of a sudden the Spider-Man from Juan Soto will be in the building.
And just what seems to be impossible, that this was the first time in the history of the Mets that they hit multiple home runs in the first inning of back-to-back games. How could that be? 2 homers in the first inning on back-to-back games had never happened dating back to 1962.
I'm surprised that letter got away from you, Easy. I'm surprised. You're the man that's all-knowing. You had to fan yourself down. You're overheating over there.
I am overheating after that one. Bichette with a fly ball toward the right field corner. It's deep. Yastrzemski's near the wall. He leaps, and it's gone. A grand slam. Bo Bichette just snuck it by the leaping Yastrzemski, and the Mets strike again in the second. Bichette breakout is just what the Mets need, and he's driven in 5 in the first 2 innings tonight.
A poolside bomb, and if you're still hungry, I can feed you some Oppo tacos.
This could be the game that can get him going, Wayne.
The Mets take a 6-2 lead. Bichette and Soto with back-to-back homers in the first. Now Bichette adds his 3rd career grand slam in the second. For all the thunder and lightning from the pregame, it's carried right into the actual game.
With the gauntlet in front of the New York Mets, how many times they have to play the Phillies, how many times they have to play the Braves, they need offensive firepower to match.
Soto with a pop-up should end the inning. As Riley makes the catch, but is this the night Bo Bichette starts to break out? He homered yesterday, and in the first 2 innings today, 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, and an opposite field grand slam has given the Mets a 6-2 lead. Pleased to be joined by one of the great pitchers of his era, Cy Young Award winner, Chris Sale.
How we doing, guys?
We're doing good. Chris, tonight, warm, humid, muggy, the ball's flying. Good night to watch this game from the dugout, not be out there on the mound?
Oh, no, never. It doesn't matter if it's hot, cold, raining, snowing. I like being out there whenever I can.
Chris, you've been pitching for a very long time. You know I'm a huge fan of yours. Have you made any adjustments in your career to continue to keep yourself healthy on the field?
Yeah, I think it's kind of an evolution. You know, you learn things about yourself. You take things from teammates. You know, you're always bouncing ideas off of your training staff and off of your strength coaches and things like that. And you develop a routine, but even through time, that routine can kind of change. So yeah, I'm a big fan of kind of doing whatever's working at the time and just kind of rolling with that as long as it works, and just kind of adjusting on the fly as you go.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Matt Olson. What's it like for you to have Gold Glove caliber defenders behind you? Matt Olson's certainly a good example, but so is Harris and Riley. Got guys all over this field that can win a Gold Glove and play exceptional defense.
Yeah, I mean, multiple positions, and you know, you get a guy like Dubon that can go play, you know, Gold Glove infield and outfield. That versatility helps, you know, our team, our lineup. But yeah, I mean, all over the diamond. I mean, if the ball's in the air and it's in the outfield, you feel confident. If the ball's on the ground and it's in the infield, you know, that helps us out a lot. You know, you don't feel like you have to do everything yourself. You know, and knowing that your team's going to have your back, it allows you to kind of go pitch your game and not have to worry about some of the, you know, other things that might get in the way.
You know, playing against this organization, I felt like with the Chipper Jones, Andrew Jones era, it was championship or bust. Do you feel that same tone in that locker room as far as all the veterans that have had experience winning in that locker room?
Oh, no question. I think, you know, this is my 3rd year here. 24, we had a really good team, and that's, you know, we showed up spring training, and that was the mindset. That was the goal. You know, obviously, you know, 24, we kind of snuck into the playoffs, but we were just kind of decimated with injuries. Last year, same thing. You know, we got a lot of guys back, and showing up to spring training this year, it was, you know, there's a lot of energy, especially with the new coaching staff. You know, Walt taking the lead, bringing in a lot of new guys with the staff who brought a lot of energy. You know, we get off to a really hot start, and you know, we just kind of felt like this was what we've been, you know, looking for the last, you know, 2 years, and it kind of finally coming to fruition this year. So it's been a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun together. We keep it loose, but when those lights flick on, it's go time, and that makes it a lot of fun.
You put any extra thought into your own health as you see a team unveiling itself here as a potential world champion, and knowing that you'll need to be going through the end of October to try to win it?
Yeah, for me, I'll be honest, I lean on my guys a lot. You know, I have you know, great guys in the weight room that have a routine for me. You know, Alex is on top of that a lot. You know, George and his staff in the training room, they're always looking for ways to kind of keep me upright, keep me feeling good, keep me going. So I'll be honest, I really lean on those guys for, you know, scheduling and you know, treatment sessions and things like that. You know, like I said, I do have a routine, but again, these guys are, you know, the best in the world at keeping guys on the field. So I really do lean on those guys a lot. So you know, I'm very thankful for them to be able to get me kind of through that.
Now, I heard a story in Wrigley Field in the visiting clubhouse of a Cy Young lefty stealing an 8x10. Now, I heard it was a rumor that, you know, it was a stolen 8x10, but could you take me into that whole situation?
Not a rumor, and no theft was involved. But yeah, there was a Dontrell Willis autographed 8x10 that I was not leaving without, and I actually still have that in my closet in Atlanta. I was like, man, you know, Dontre, I looked up to you as a kid, and I always loved watching you pitch. It was so much fun, and I saw that in there. I was like, I can't leave without that. I'll pay you whatever you need. I'll get you whatever you want, but I'm leaving here with it.
I'll get your address, man. I'll send you a jersey, Big Daddy. I appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Six to 2, the Mets have the lead as we see Spencer Strider after 2 innings worth of 6 runs allowed. Most of that damage done by Bo Bichette. He's already given up 3 home runs. We talked about it before against the Mets. This has just been a team Strider's had very little success against.
Yeah, there's always a team in your back pocket that seems to be able to get your number consistently, and got to be able to set up that fastball. That's his bread and butter, to be able to command and really blow guys away. He gets ahead and he lands that secondary. Easier to navigate the lineup.
Jared Young grounds out to start the 3rd. Let's send it downstairs to Heidi.
Well, first base has been a struggle for the Mets this season since moving on from Pete Alonso. Mets first baseman ranked near the bottom of the league in every offensive category, but Jared Young is solidifying the position of late. He's got a .911 OPS in 14 games since returning from the IL. And Carlos Mendoza said he really likes the quality of his at-bats. He said his ability to control the strike zone, guys.
A.J. Ewing at the plate here, struck out his first time up. Mets have a 6-2 lead as Strider allowed home runs in the first 2 innings to Bo Bichette, including that grand slam in the second. There's a game here last year where Strider allowed 8 runs at Citi Field against the Mets. That's a career high in runs allowed. Tonight he's tied his career high in home runs allowed. Numbers growing for Spencer Strider against the Mets in his career. 2 balls and a strike now on Ewing.
Also, we talked about the changeup being a valuable pitch. We have not seen that really factor thus far. It's fastball slider, and so that changeup, he bounced a couple to Juan Soto and gave up the home run, and I think he scrapped that away. He's got to be able to start really being comfortable with that changeup.
2-2 now on Ewing. There have been some good signs from Strider this year. He still has not shown that type of pitching that he showed 3 years ago when he won 20 games and led the league in strikeouts and did all that. But he certainly seemed to be headed in the right direction after how he looked in his first 7 starts this year. As Ewing fouls one behind home plate.
Learning how to pitch with the stuff that you possess. You don't have 99 to rush hitters anymore at the top of the zone. Almost that invisible where you can fall behind and still work your way with 1 pitch, and so it will be a difficult transition. But once he gets that 3rd pitch, and you saw in the pregame, that changeup is a pitch that he can't scrap away, especially to the left-hand power guys.
2 balls, 2 strikes on A.J. Ewing. Strider goes up and in, and it's 3-2.
As the at-bat prolongs, you see hitters starting to eliminate pitches from both starters.
Line toward left, coming in. Dubon got a good jump and makes the running catch. Slicing line drive from Ewing. And it's the 2nd out here in the 3rd inning. Well, Strider retired the first 2, no problem in the 2nd inning, and then allowed a double to MJ Melendez. That ball he probably liked, that was the one that hit him in the glove. Luis Torrens with a bouncer up the middle was a sure out had he let it go to the shortstop Kim. Tried to field it himself, couldn't, and Torrens had an infield hit. Then Benj was hit by a pitch, and then Bichette put one in the front row and right.
And you hear it all the time, Wayne. Baseball is a game of inches, and you're going to look back at the tape, and yes, you didn't command the baseball like you wanted to in the first and couple innings, but you've got to be able to make the little plays.
1 ball, 1 strike on Marcus Semien, who struck out his first time. Mets happy to be on the right side of a score in their favor early in the game after being down 7-0 twice earlier this week against the Cardinals, who won the first 2 games of this homestand against the Mets. But the Mets rallied back for the win yesterday and a nice size lead early tonight. Semien deposits one toward right center field and has a base hit. It's cut off by Yastrzemski, which holds Semien to a single. And here come the Mets again with 2 outs after scoring 4 times after 2 out, nobody on in the last inning.
So important to be able to finish innings. This is a slider that just stayed on the top of the plate, really didn't get off the barrel. Semien looking out over the plate, goes down and just lays that ball to right center. Beatty hitting just 166 off non-fastball pitches.
Beatty flied out his first time up tonight. It's hoping to get Lindor back, as we said, relatively soon. Jorge Polanco as well on the injured list. Another guy who could be back in the somewhat near future for the Mets. Kodai Senga made a rehab start this week as well. Runner going toward a second base, and Marcus Semien with the wheels gets down and steals second quite easily.
Veteran John with his ex-teammate Matt Olson really just got a walking lead after the pick over by Spencer Strider. Careful you don't get stuck in the ground as he's approaching second base.
That goes into Beatty's favor here. 2 balls and 1 strike for Semien. Now 6 stolen bases on the year. Carson Bench is the Mets team leader with 10. Well, never out in front of the plate. Strider this time does field his position correctly to win the inning.
Time for a Sage manager interview here with Carlos Mendoza. Bo Bichette told me before the game he's feeling pretty good. 2 home runs tonight, I guess he is. How important to get him going?
I mean, it's going to be huge. We know how important he is for our lineup, for our offense, for our team. It's been hard for him, especially the way he got out of the gate. But to see him today pull a breaking ball and then go up all right there in that situation, we're going to need him. I've been saying this is a really good hitter that at any time it could happen, and here he is.
It looks like it's happening. Nolan McLean's second inning. You said sometimes his breaking ball can break too much. He walked 3 guys there. Is that what you're seeing from him?
Yeah, he lost the strike zone there. He's missing arm side with pretty much all of his pitches. I'm glad he was able to get out of that situation there with the bases loaded, and we need him.
Thanks, Carlos.
You got it.
Well, a 42 pitch second inning had Nolan McLean teetering, but he was able to get through it. Held the Braves to 2 runs and then worked a pretty quick 3rd inning as he gets ahead of Austin Riley. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Riley was trying to ambush that sinker, running it in a half, and guess wrong with that slider that backed up.
One runs way off the plate. That's how much movement there is with that pitch. I mean, a pitch in that case that he's intending to get a swing out of almost ended up in the other on deck circle.
Forearm strength to be able to manipulate the baseball like that. Truly impressive.
2-2 and a fastball upstairs. McLean looked really good in his first 8 major league starts at the end of last season when he came up. He faced Atlanta in his second start. He won his first 4 and had a 1.37 ERA in that time. Also the starting pitcher in the championship game of this year's WBC for Team USA.
You're feeling like this is a young man that's really going to be developed into a frontline starter for the Metropolitans. And, you know, sometimes there's hiccups in the process, but I still think he has the stuff to be nice. Ooh.
Riley held up. Kind of turned his back on the first base umpire. Alan Porter tried to eliminate the vision of that check swing attempt. And Riley won the appeal as he draws his second walk tonight.
If you look at this, it's going to be awkward swings whether you're ahead in the count or not. But this is a fastball that's barreling down on you.
Borderline.
Looking like you playing Twister.
So Riley gets on. That's the fourth walk issued by McLean. Mentioned the 5 he had in his last home start, which is his career high. So he's already one behind that. Mike Yastrzemski had an RBI in the second inning as he takes a strike. The big issue, though, is that second inning ran the pitch count up. So McLean's already about to be at 75 for the night. Most he's thrown in a game this year is 101. That was in his last start in San Diego. It's 1 ball 1 strike on Yastrzemski.
And you don't want to make it a habit, even though it's going to be hard to take that baseball out of this young man's hand to be going back to back days going 100 pitches but at the flip side of that, if you're Carlos Mendoza, twice a rotation turn, you have to do a bullpen ball game. And so for your high leverage guys in the back end of that bullpen, man, that puts them awfully at risk.
And with Clay Holmes out, and with both Sean Manaea and David Peterson not giving the Mets enough innings, they're in this weird spot where they're using their bullpen a lot, openers, bulk guys, and then that sort of stuff, just to get through a rotation turn.
And the gauntlet they have in front of them, where these are experienced offenses with the Atlanta Braves and the Philadelphia Phillies that can grind pitchers down. That's going to be the game plan, to be able to get the starter out and make the game too long for Mendoza and the Metropolitans.
2 balls 2 strikes, and there's a swing and a miss, strike 3. So McLean just goes to an old-fashioned high heater at 97 miles an hour to punch out Yastrzemski 1 away. That's something he should do more, challenge hitters more.
Absolutely. And I don't think he's out there trying to nibble per se and try to pitch perfect on the edges. It's just one of those things that he just manipulates the sinker movement. See, to me right there, that's a fastball. That's a get me over fastball where he's just throwing the ball middle. And you see how much life and movement it had in the strike zone.
Still 24 years old. This is his first full season in the major leagues. Talk about a maturing process, but there were some big expectations. He was expected to really be a number 1 or 2 starter for this ball club alongside Freddie Peralta and Clay Holmes in that mix as well. 1 ball 1 strike on Ha-Seong Kim. As Kim looks at strike 2. McLean's from North Carolina, actually grew up a Braves fan. Chipper Jones was his favorite player.
Yeah, I know why, painfully.
Chipper Jones, kind of a favorite to jeer in this bird.
Especially up here. Easy, Wayne. We got to get out of here, too.
I'll help you out. I'll get you right out.
You know some people, don't you?
Kim fouls one back. They just put me on the video board.
Man,
you know?
You're famous here, man. It's mildly annoying when I come here, man.
You're famous in 29 of the other 30. Let me have 1.
You're right. I'm being a hater. That's my bad. You know I love you, Weezy. That's my fault.
1 ball 2 strikes on Kim. And it's 2-2 now. McLean, with every pitch he throws in this inning, it takes away the likelihood of even going through 5 tonight, let alone the 6 or 7 that Carlos Mendoza was hoping for. It's 3-2. That's twice now McLean's looked down at his landing spot after these last 2 pitches.
He's just talking to himself. Yes, that could bother you, but it's like, just come on, man. Let me get this sequence down, like the sinker down. I've already set him up. Sometimes in a situation when you're struggling out there with command and you're battling and they give you a lead, got to dig deep.
3-2. Kim pops it up foul and out of play. Pretty good crowd here tonight. The Mets and Braves open up their first series against each other this season. I know everybody's happy that tomorrow's a 4 o'clock game. They can just get it over with before the New York Knicks try to win their first championship since 1973.
Spicy.
Still 3-2 on Kim. It is taking this city by storm what the Knicks have put together in their incredible postseason run.
50+ years.
73, the last one. Yeah.
You see all the stars in the first 3 rows, not this on the floor, in the first 3 rows. And I love all the alumni players being so passionate. Carmelo Anthony calling out plays and defenses.
Solo roller toward third as Beatty looks to second, but has only played first base. As Kim is down 2 away, with Riley advancing to second base. These are the last teams to win in the major men's sports leagues. A long time for the Jets. And a long time for the Knicks, too. In 1973, their last one. They've had some heartbreaks in the Eastern Conference Finals and the NBA Finals over the years since then. But this looks like their year. They're up 3-1. Need to finish it off now.
Can't get us no tickets. They put you on a jumbotron. We can sit in rows easy together. Oh.
Yeah, I think that and about what 7,000-8,000 for each of us will get us in.
Oh, my money long like train smoke. I got us.
Well, the Knicks they're hoping they don't even have another game at the Garden. Game 5's in San Antonio tomorrow. They play Game 6 at Madison Square Garden, I think, on Tuesday.
I mean, can we even get a flight to San Antonio from here?
Good question. Fly to Dallas or something and drive. No balls and 2 strikes on Wins and a foul behind home plate. I could barely get a flight to New York today.
I was a little worried. A little worried. Got that Apple TV money. They would charge you a jet. You famous now, man. I'm still trying to work on the F1 tickets. Maybe a screen protector.
Yeah, something. No balls, 2 strikes on Austin Wins. Wins 35 years old, kind of a career backup. But he did make his major league debut here at Citi Field and got a hit back in 2018 when he was with Baltimore. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Just biding the time until Drake Baldwin is back for Atlanta. It'll be a while before Sean Murphy's back to join Baldwin, but Baldwin should be back real soon.
Such an important piece, especially where Drake Baldwin hits in the lineup. The bat-to-ball skills is elite. He's showing power. You'll have to get in front of that and give him his money early.
There's strike 3 to Win, so McClain gets through the 4th. We'll see if the Mets push him beyond that. It's a 6-2 lead.
Time for a Sage Manager interview here with Walt Weiss. Spencer Strider's given up 3 home runs. What are you seeing from him tonight?
Yeah, some pitches in the middle plate, just some pretty good hitters, and you know, Soto and Bichette. So yeah, he's grinding a little bit, but gone to the secondary stuff and got some swing and miss with that. But yeah, he's grinding a little bit tonight.
You guys seem pretty aggressive, especially Wins behind the plate with the challenges. You're 3 for 3, but there was a couple at bats in the bases loaded situation, Wins and Dubon, where you didn't challenge. What's the philosophy when it comes to challenging at bat?
Yeah, trust your eyes. You know, my message is basically the lower the leverage, the higher the certainty you got to have. But at the end of the day, just trust your eyes. You know.
Thanks, Walt.
All right, thank you.
Walt Weiss from Rockland County in New York. 2 balls and no strikes on MJ Melendez. Now ball 3. They didn't have those ABS challenges when Walt Weiss was the Rookie of the Year in the 1980s.
He was a bad man in Oakland. My grandmother's favorite player, man. He was slick, very stoic. And that's how he is as a manager. He trusts and believes in the process, and I love what he said. You know, understand the leverage, but I trust you to make the right decisions.
1988, he was the American League Rookie of the Year, the 3rd of 3 in a row for the A's. The Bash brothers were first, Canseco in '86 and McGuire in '87. Then Walt Weiss, a little bit of a different player than those guys. As Melendez fouls one off. He was also on the 1999 Braves, who beat the Mets in the NLCS that year. Pretty storied baseball career for Mr. Weiss. We talked about it earlier that the bench coach to manager transition is a lot easier one because you know the players. There's ball 4 to Melendez, and he says you know them on a deeper level than if you're just coming in as a manager in a new organization, it takes about a year to get to know the guys the way that you want. Here's a conversation that Walt Weiss may not want to have. He's bringing the trainer out to take a look at Spencer Strider after that leadoff walk to Melendez.
Only at pitch 68 right now, and something's going on.
It's warm, it's humid. We've talked about that. Could be a night where you cramp up a little bit more than usual. But you also have to worry about injuries, period, with Strider. 2 elbow surgeries, oblique issue earlier in the year. I don't know that he's going to stick around for the rest of this one.
It's been a grind for both starters out there. You see McClain really go to that rosin bag, and it looks like he's going to exit.
It looks like something of an issue here for Spencer Strider, that he's not able to continue tonight, and certainly not a great sign for the Braves as he walks off the mound with the trainer. All-Star, scan the QR code to cast your 2026 Konami eBaseball MLB All-Star ballot. Visit MLB.com/vote. Joe Torre, who had some great years as a player and of course as a manager for both of these franchises. Tom Glavine, the Hall of Famer, had a lot of that done in a Braves uniform. Well, Atlanta's banged up. Who isn't? Seems like so many players are heading to the injured list. Drake Baldwin's going to be back soon, the Braves think. Acuna, they don't want to rush him back after a second hamstring strain this year. Spencer Schwellenbach, who is starting to blossom into a top-of-the-line rotation man for them, trying to be back in the second half of the year. Mentioned the Sean Murphy injury, and now Spencer Strider leaves the game with something wrong with him as J.R. Ritchie takes over on the mound for Atlanta.
When you talk to some of the veterans in the Braves locker room, they say injuries derailed the season last year, and they had countless players trying to make up in the gauntlet of the NL East. This roster, the way they came out this season and really being one of the best teams in baseball, injuries is the only thing they feel that can get in their way of winning the championship season.
Yeah, it's certainly something that they have to think about as they move toward the second half of the season, is keeping these guys healthy. We saw how injuries wrecked them last year throughout the course of the regular season, and as Chris Sale mentioned, 2 years ago they weren't quite the same going into the season. I mean, last year was just one after the other, and all the big names, the guys you don't want to see on that list, made it on that list, including Sale and Acuna. Yeah, got nothing from Ronaldo Lopez last year, and Strider was out for a bunch as well. So they don't want to lose another season of that, especially with how things have started here. The Braves are a viable championship contender, one of the few teams across baseball that can really say that. I mean, how many teams can really say, we know we're a World Series contender right now?
And it really bounced back from the catastrophic year because of injury last year, and they just hit the ground running. And you see they have a level of expectation. They expect to be in the postseason, and if they're healthy, they expect to go and challenge teams like the Dodgers, the Phillies for the National League Championship. And so last year, the first year of a couple that they missed the postseason, and they're thinking about that fan base and who they are in that organization. It was just too many injuries to overcome. But this year it's different because they had a lot of their core guys, especially on the offensive side, healthy and playing well. That's why they have a substantial lead thus far in the NL East.
Go back to 2017 for the last time the Braves finished under 500. I mean, they have been, outside of last year, a perennial playoff team once again, like they were in the 90s and in the early 2000s. Look up again and again, and the Braves are right there, kings of the National League East. 2018 through 23, they won the division every year. 2024 they were still a wild card team, so last year was the first year since 17 that they missed the playoffs. Mets have not won the division since 2015, although they had a great run in 24 which put them in the NLCS. And in 2022, finished tied with Atlanta for the division title, but lost by a tiebreaker. That was the first year of the tiebreakers in a full season. The Braves swept a series against the Mets near the end of that season to grab the tiebreaker and do just enough with an incredible second half to win the division that year. Ball 1 to Torrens. Remember about that season. You know, the Mets were still playing well in the second half. Atlanta overcame a 10.5 game deficit, but the Mets still did very well in the second half. They just couldn't win a game in Atlanta toward the end of that season, which ultimately took them out of the division title. The Braves won 78-34 from June 1st to the end of that season.
It was an extraordinary late surge, but the consistency, the belief, like we talked about, health played a factor, and some key guys got healthy, and they just ran them down.
Line drive to right field, a base hit for Luis Torrens. So the bottom of the order coming through again for the Mets. It was in the second inning when Melendez and Torrens had back-to-back hits to set up Bo Bichette's grand slam. And here in the fourth, they are on base again. Melendez walked. Torrens has singled for a second time. As soon as we find out more about Spencer Strider, we'll pass that along. We mentioned the Braves had a terrible night of traveling coming from Chicago. Didn't get into their hotel until 5 or 6 o'clock this morning, having to wait out the storms in the Chicago area last night. But Spencer Strider was not among them. Strider actually flew early in the day yesterday to get ahead of all of that, so he was the one Brave that was not missing a good night of sleep yesterday. Carson Benj takes ball 2 from Richie.
Tough situation for Richie. Rushing yourself, already inheriting a runner, and just trying to settle your heart rate to be able to have your pitch mix and land in the strike zone.
2 balls, no strikes, the count on Benj. It's in there from Richie. It's 2-1. Richie pitching out of the bullpen. He was just called up the other day. Carlos Carrasco, former New York Met, is DFA'd this week. He's a bouncing ball to second base as Albies has that. Gets it to second for 1. No return throw from Kim. So 1 out, and now Bo Bichette will be the batter. What a night it's been so far for Bichette. Two home runs, 5 RBIs, and 2 at-bats, but a grand slam in the front row. In the bottom of the second inning, blasted a home run in the first as well. Those 2 shots off of Spencer Strider. It's been a while since a Met has had a 3-homer game. It was Francisco Lindor on a Sunday night against the Yankees in September of 2021 here at Citi Field. Last 3-homer game by a Met.
I mean, the ability not only to control the strike zone of your Bo Bichette, but have the ability to do damage and hit the ball very hard on pitches that are difficult out the strike zone. That's always been his calling card. And right now, he looks focused. He looks hungry.
2 balls and no strikes. Bichette with a fly ball here, left center shallow. Harris comes in for it now in straightaway center field. Makes that catch. Runners are tagging. Harris with a great arm throws it home, but it bounced off the mound. And Melendez comes in as Bo Bichette gets his 6th run batted in tonight. I think the runners were going to go. Harris not someone you typically challenge. The runners took off, drawing a throw, and the throw hit the mound.
Yeah, to challenge Harris in that area where he's behind the baseball. Just an unfortunate bounce for the Atlanta Braves, but this throw looks like it's on line, but hits the rosin bag actually back of the mound. Excellent jump by Melendez as well.
Mets now lead 7-2. Bichette ties his career high with 6 RBIs in a game. He had a 6 RBI game last year for Toronto. It's already holding a big lead. Braves will not give Juan Soto a chance to make it any bigger, as he will be intentionally walked. Jared Young, the batter now. He is 0 for 2, grounded out his last time. Young's been swinging the bat well. A journeyman player. Young was with the Cubs for a lot of his pro career. Ended up in the KBO playing for the Doosan Bears, and he did well there a couple of years ago. In the Cardinals organization for a short time as well. Chops this one foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And 17 home runs in 75 games in AAA last year, also hitting 300 in those games.
The first time he's shown his capabilities at the major league level. He's hit 4 home runs in short order this year. He had his own meniscus injury that kept him out for a while. 1 ball, 1 strike on Young. As Ritchie misses upstairs, 2-1 the count. It's a good opportunity for J.R. Ritchie, considered a prospect in the Braves organization, to eat up some innings here and help out the bullpen on a night where Spencer Strider goes down early. There's ball 3.
3-1 count. Already having a runner in scoring position in this situation. Young's looking to try to drive something pull side.
3-1 the count on Young. Chopper to the left side, long range for Kim. Backhand off balance throw. Olsen stretches and the runner safe. Olsen thinks he held the bag. Looked to me like he did. And for now, it's an infield hit for Young. The Braves immediately say they want a challenge.
Yeah, he did a good job of switching his feet.
Atlanta is challenging the out call, or safe call at first base.
Ooh, the big toe stayed on top of that bag just enough.
The Mets keep putting on that Spider-Man mask, but Matt Olson looked like Inspector Gadget here. That is a long stretch, or maybe Stretch Armstrong.
Saying our age, Wayne, on air. Appreciate it.
Just trying to help you out. Olson's he's heading out to the dugout.
Haven't you seen my movies?
He's batting 3rd next inning, and he's going to get ready for that.
He's almost insulted that they're taking this long.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The fielder maintained control of the base. Atlanta will retain their challenge.
Nicely done by the Gold Glover. Matt Olson gets the Braves out of the inning, but the Mets add to their lead. It's 7-2 here at Citi Field. Take a look at our pitching decisions presented by Sage. Nolan McLean facing Michael Harris to get out of a long 2nd inning.
Yeah, throwing the curveball to be able to land that, and all of a sudden using his movement with the fastball and speeding him up and finally throwing a true sinker down in to lock him up.
McLean did have 6 strikeouts in the game, 2 of them on the curveball.
See, the pitch makes the sinker such an important pitch for him to compete with that pitch in the strike zone. And I know you got to sometimes as a manager make tough decisions, and he's so important that you cannot sustain any more injuries in that rotation. And he's not going to be happy because they finally scored for him. He understands he had not pitched the way that he wanted to in the sequencing, and that's a win that he has a shot at, but didn't go deep in the ball game enough to get it.
Now, Carlos Mendoza doesn't want to go to the bullpen this early any more than Nolan McLean wants him to.
Yeah, but again, you got to keep it funky sometimes. You're going to get me fired if I put you back out there, young man.
Exactly.
You ain't getting me in trouble, man. Like, I love you, but you're too important. You threw 100 pitches the game before. I just can't allow that.
Cionel Perez is the new pitcher, and he might have to go field this one off the bat of Dubon. Slings it to first to get the out. Nice job by Perez off the mound to retire Mauricio Dubon.
Yeah, especially if you're left-handed, you really have to bounce off that mound and get there. And Perez showing that he played a little bit of first base, the exchange to get to that throwing arm and a little submarine fire. Usually that spells trouble for a pitcher throwing that ball, but excellent throw.
One out as Harris will bat. We'll send it down to Heidi for an update on Spencer Strider.
Well, the Braves have just announced that Spencer Strider left tonight's game due to right arm soreness. If you remember, he's made his debut in 2026 late because of left oblique muscle strain. You have to wonder if that had any lingering effects on the arm, guys.
We'll find out more, I'm sure, after the game from the Braves. Strider had a rough night. He's not pitched well against the Mets in his career. His ERA over 7 now against New York, and his ERA for the year 5.31 after tonight. And Spencer Strider hoping for health as much as anything right now.
So far what I've seen from him is the consistency or lack thereof of the breaking ball. And like I said earlier, he really scrapped that changeup, really didn't feel comfortable with that pitch. And if you don't have the breaking ball and your fastball is flat anywhere from 94 to 95, turning it to be tough sledding. The power guys in the Mets lineups definitely feast off them.
Count 1-2 on Harris, who struck out twice against McLean. 4 walks, a lot of pitches in that second inning, over 90 in the game, doomed McLean from being able to qualify for the win here tonight. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Michael Harris. Good opportunity for Perez, though, to come in and get a win. You know, back in the 60s, there was a pitcher who actually ended up as a pitching coach for the Mets when he was about 80 years old, roughly 7 or 8 years ago. Phil Regan, who they called the Vulture. He'd come in after a starter left a game early, and he'd come and pick up the win. Vultured the win. Perez can do that here tonight. Look at that bare hand play.
Pitchers are athletes too, Wayne. Whatever it takes to get them to do a right turn instead of a left turn. Very important. And again, the first couple steps off the mound, especially when that ball's to the right side, barehanded, didn't feel comfortable gloving that because you have to turn your glove over if you're left-handed, and you don't want to trust that backhand of that ball hitting off the hill like a cat.
Two outs as Matt Olson bats. Perez has had to field the first 2 ground balls, 1 on each side of his body here to start the 5th inning as Olson takes ball 1. Phil Regan had 4 different seasons where he won double-digit games as a reliever, including 14 wins in 1966 for the Dodgers. One ball, no strikes on Olson, who rips one toward right center field. Benj is on the run after it in the gap, and it's gone. Matt Olson powers out his 20th home run of the year, and the Braves get one back.
He took that first breaking ball, Wayne, and had a beat on the velocity and the tilt of that breaking ball, and lefty on lefty climb. Line drive home. How many times have you seen him be able to wear out that chop house in Atlanta? One of the prettier swings in all of baseball.
Just a tremendous player all around. Matt Olson put one in a spot that Cionel Perez could not field. Up into the bullpen area in right center field. 20 home runs now for Olson. He's hit at least that many in every season that he's played in the major leagues, with the exception of the shortened 2020 year. 9 times overall he's done it. He's hit more homers now in Atlanta. This has been the case. This was even the case coming into the season. But more homers in his first 4 years with Atlanta than he hit over his 5 seasons as a member of the A's. He's got the 2nd most in the National League with his 20th tonight. Albies bounces one in the hole. It's short. It's Bichette. Long throw, and he got him. Young toes the bag on a high throw to win the inning. As Matt Olson homers to make it 7-3.
It go boom, boom, bap, yeah, we got it like that. Kick drum, hit your whole body go crack. Let the baseline move, take it off of the map. We rock crowds every time we react.
Welcome back. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV, presented by Goodyear. With Dontrell Willis and Heidi Watney, I'm Wayne Randazzo. We're at Citi Field tonight in New York. Weather report presented by Ricola.
Ricola. It was hot earlier today. Felt like Grandma was frying chicken in the booth. Crispy. Turned out to be a nice night.
My grandmother likes to fry eggplant and zucchini sometimes.
I'm still waiting on the Wayne Randazzo's secret meatballs, man. What's going on with that, bro? Tighten up. Busy guy. I know you're a busy guy.
I should have made him on the flight to Hartford. 1 ball, 1 strike on A.J. Ewing leading off here in the bottom of the 5th. Mets have a 7-3 lead against Atlanta. All 7 runs charged to Spencer Strider, and it's the rookie J.R. Ritchie in the game now. Another pitcher the Braves are trying to develop. Seems like another constant in this 35 years of excellence, largely from the Braves. They bring a lot of pitchers to the major leagues that thrive.
You know, a lot like the Dodgers. They draft well, they develop well. The mentality of pitching. It's always been the lifeblood of them. Yes, the offensive capabilities is there, but they've always had, when they've had championship clubs, the consistency at the rotation and talent in the back end, very important.
2-2 on Ewing. Look at the year Bryce Elder is having, along with Chris Sale as a 1-2 in the rotation. J.R. Ritchie is the number 2 pitching prospect in the Braves system at the moment. And he strikes out A.J. Ewing for the first out here in the 5th. Well, speaking of developing pitchers, the Milwaukee Brewers are pretty good at it too. And look at the night Jacob Mizorowski had. For more, here is Lauren Gardner.
Yeah, Wayne, let's close the book on this outing. One of the best of the year. 15th strikeout of the night to earn the 1-hit complete game shutout. How about this 95 pitches, fellas? That final pitch was 103 miles an hour for the 24-year-old. Absolutely ridiculous.
It's one of the best pitching performances ever, really. I mean, he faced the minimum 27 batters tonight. He struck out 15 of them. Kyle Schwarber had a base hit, was the only base runner, and he was erased on a double play in that inning off the bat of Harper. He was routinely touching 103, 104, even 105 tonight.
You know, he's one of the prized weapons in Major League Baseball, and that's why you see now him making the All-Star team in just a couple days. It seemed like in the big leagues. Well, you see why. He can overpower you with that true straight fastball, the arm angle. And as he continues to get more confident on the mound, it feels like he is on top of the hitter, and that's why you're seeing the uptick in velo. He's comfortable with his mechanics, and he's throwing absolutely through the target.
He had 15 strikeouts on 95 pitches tonight.
Man, I've never felt anything like that, so I can't give you that type of experience, but it's just one of those things where a guy possesses swing and miss stuff, and if he commands it on that given day, you're touching 103 and you're getting ahead and you're staying ahead. Ugh, that can happen.
Well, it is called a Maddox when a pitcher throws a shutout with fewer than 100 pitches. And there's a swing and a miss by Simeon for strike 3. Of course, after the great Greg Maddux, who was with the Atlanta Braves for a number of years. And Mizorowski with a Maddox tonight, 15 strikeouts, the most ever in a game that is called a Maddox, at least in the pitch tracking era, which goes back to 1988. Tarek Skubal working his way back. He'll be out there tomorrow in Cleveland on an incredibly quick turnaround from the surgery that he had in late April.
The Tigers get rid of him.
It's going to be a big question if they don't jump back in the race, although they've played better so far in June. Tigers are still quite a ways back in the AL Central. 8 games out entering tonight behind a White Sox team that suddenly can't lose. They've won 19 of 22 at home, including a beatdown of the Dodgers tonight.
Careful.
8-2. That's a beatdown.
They're not playing around in the South Side.
They sure aren't.
I told you. You got a little chuckle when I told you earlier.
And Shohei was not in the lineup for the Dodgers tonight. Had some knee soreness pop up yesterday, and the Dodgers kept him out today. They put Will Smith on the IL too.
You talked about injuries, and even with these championship caliber ball clubs, their depth is going to be tested.
That's how it goes in a 6-month season. Every team goes through it. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Brett Beatty.
I like Richie's pitch mix. The fastball, the life of it, the ability to spin the baseball as well. Young man has mound presence.
It's the 35th overall pick in the 2022 draft. Atlanta drafted 3 straight high school pitchers to kick off that draft, with Richie being the second of those 3. And that's how you end up with a staff that works like the Braves do, the best bullpen ERA in baseball. Whether they develop guys into relievers or starters, it's a constant evolution of pitching, and it is a swing and miss by Beatty as J.R. Ritchie strikes out the side of the 5th.
Welcome back to Citi Field. This was before the game. Will make Mets fans happy. Francisco Lindor doing baseball activities. He took live at-bats, simulated a couple innings on defense. Carlos Mendoza said they're going to have him work in this controlled environment for another week. Then he's probably going to go out on rehab the following week. They do think he'll be back in the lineup before the All-Star break. The Mets have played just 9 games with Lindor and Juan Soto in the lineup together, guys.
Well, it's not enough for the Mets to be competitive. They are 30-38 right now, although ahead 7-3 tonight. The 6th inning, Dominic Smith leading off and taking ball 1. Mets are in last place right now. All the teams in the NL East have been able to get ahead of them, including the Braves, way ahead of everybody right now, with the Phillies losing in Milwaukee tonight. Atlanta will at least maintain their 8-game lead. The Nationals and Marlins may be a bit better than some expected, especially Washington, scoring a lot of runs this year.
Yeah, they're one of the best offensive ball clubs in all of baseball. Their pitching has just failed them. And you look at the Marlins, will roll over.
Easy out off the bat. Smith, 1 away. Washington getting beat against Seattle tonight at Nationals Park, 8-1 score in that game. The Braves sitting comfortably right now. Miami won tonight, so they're up to 500. Cionel Perez gets the first out here in the 6th against the lefty Smith, and now he will leave this game. Inspired by Martin Scorsese's iconic remake and starring Javier Bardem and Amy Adams, don't miss Cape Fear. When convicted murderer Max Cady is released from prison, he begins infiltrating the family of the married attorneys who helped put him behind bars. Cape Fear is now streaming on Apple TV. Javier Bardem is all over
Legend.
the field here tonight.
Legend.
Should go get his autograph. Take a selfie with the cardboard cutout of Javier Bardem.
That's okay. I can be a fanboy. It's okay.
I tell you, after 2020, I've seen enough cardboard cutouts in ballparks for the rest of my life.
Oh, wheezy.
7-3. The Mets have the lead here in the 6th inning. Austin Riley against the new pitcher Huáscar Brazoban. Brazoban's done a nice job. Largely, the Mets bullpen has done a nice job. They've just thrown probably more innings than Carlos Mendoza would like. Just not any consistency really from the rotation. As McLean only goes 4 innings tonight. And there's strike 3 called from Brazoban to put away Riley.
And see, that's why you're concerned if you're Carlos Mendoza, because you do have plus guys. Excellent pitch right here, but high leverage guys. But if you continue to play in ball games like this, now every single day you have to deploy 4 to 5 guys, and if one guy is wrong, you lose that game. And then on top of it, multiple bullpen games in the rotation, that's tough. Especially when you're trying to chip away and fight back and get in the striking distance of the postseason. So Kodai is just so important just to add some stability to the rotation.
Mets with the 4th most innings pitched by relievers this year. Only Washington, Colorado, and the White Sox are ahead of them. As we detailed the pitching issues the Nationals have had, even though they've scored so many runs, the pitching has kept them from really taking off, and the Rockies always have and always will have issues pitching in their ballpark. Strike 3 called to win the inning. Brazoban comes in and gets back-to-back backward Ks to retire the side. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Well, the Atlanta Braves lost an icon this year with the passing of the incredible Bobby Cox. Oversaw all those great Braves teams in the 90s, the team of the 90s, the 1995 champions. Alongside Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz in the Hall of Fame. And this year's Hall of Fame class will have quite a Mets and Braves flavor to it, with Andrew Jones, Carlos Beltran, and Jeff Kent being inducted into Cooperstown this year.
So many great conversations, and I was so honored because I'm a young opponent, rival in the same division, but the conversations I've had with Bobby Cox, I remember I bunted and I slid head first with my left hand. He jumps up and he's yelling from the dugout. The very next day after the game, he calls me into the dugout and says, "Son, we want to kick your backside, but we want to see you get hurt. Enough with the slide," you know. But that's just a guy that just loved the game and loved the passion and loved his players and loved to see people that played with the game of passion. And, you know, last year we had the honor of calling the game of the 25th anniversary of that ball club winning the championship, and seeing him be able to make it with a true legend in the game of baseball.
It was the 30th anniversary. You're older than you think. That was the 30th
I
anniversary.
get my grays in my beard. You're 1,000% right, but yes, you're absolutely right. But true pioneer and legend.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Melendez, who's started a couple of rallies for the Mets, couple of run-scoring innings with a double and a walk tonight. Count now 3-2 as Melendez leads off here in the 6th inning against Ritchie. Swing and a miss, strike 3. It's 4 straight strikeouts for J.R. Ritchie. Let's go downstairs to Heidi.
I talked to Andrew Jones today. He was one of the best defensive center fielders the game has ever seen, but that didn't stop his old manager Bobby Cox from pulling him from the game mid-inning. Jones told me he was just 21 years old, struck out against Kerry Woods. He was pissed about it, took it into the field where he had a defensive lapse on a shallow pop-up. Cox sent Gerald Williams out to replace him mid-inning. Could you imagine that happening in today's game, guys?
Here's a bouncer back to the mound as Ritchie throws out Torrens.
Need to happen more sometimes.
Yeah, you kind of think that it could happen more, certainly. There's that great old story of Gil Hodges doing the same thing when he managed the Mets back in the early days of the franchise before they became a World Championship team in 1969. Bobby Cox was that old school leader of a franchise the way that managers really once were, and may not be again in that aspect. 2 outs as Carson Benj bats. It's all about collaboration now, and the front office more involved. Really, managers just in general have a different job than they did at that time. Balls and 2 strikes on Benj. And played for some of those guys, Jack McKeon and Jimmy Leland. Dusty Baker still had some of that, I think, when he was managing in Cincinnati.
I remember bunting, and I just assumed it was a bunt situation, first and second, and lay down a bunt, and Dusty is just yelling at me as I'm running up, and I get into the dugout, and everybody's high-fiving me, and he grabs me. He's like, "You let me manage," and I'm like, "That's the right play in that situation." He's like, "You can hit that guy. You're hitting 380. I don't want to give away an out." And you respect that because they're showing tough love and a belief that you can get the job done and elongate that inning. And so, coming from that era, it was really important to earn respect and to respect the game, respect your teammates, and allowing them to control the game, especially if they're winning.
Balls, 2 strikes, the count here on Benj. You did throw 1 Maddox, by the way, at a 97 pitch shutout in your 20-win year, 2005, against Washington.
Man, I gotta give you another 20.
Fly ball to left as J.R. Ritchie has come in and shut down the Mets. Another 1-2-3 inning. Formula One heads to Spain for the Barcelona Catalunya Grand Prix this weekend. How about that? 1 try. Former champions Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, and Max Verstappen chase down. And now I can't say chase, but I can say the other word. 19-year-old phenom Kimi Antonelli, who looks to make it 6 straight victories. Watch the race live Sunday, 9 a.m. Eastern, Apple TV, the new U.S. home of Formula One.
I appreciate that read, actually, because I got to text our boss, Royce Dickerson. Make sure our tickets are in the mail.
Hasn't he blocked you by now?
You better not. He want to go golf. I gave him too many drivers. That's okay. He gonna text me back.
Ah-Sung Kim leads off here in the 7th against Brazaban, who struck out the first 2 hitters that he faced in the 6th inning.
Brazaban, very important high leverage piece, and he has the ability to at least go to the lineup 1 time.
Ground ball to third base right at Brett Beatty as he throws out Kim. 1 down here in the 7th inning. Mets bullpen yesterday worked 4 1/3 scoreless innings. So far tonight 2 1/3 innings, and they've given up just the 1 run and 1 hit, the home run by Olsen. Austin Wynn striking out in his first 2 plate appearances today. His job right now is just to call the pitches and catch the ball behind the plate. They're not really asking him to give much offense.
Excellent already early in the ball game with the ABS challenges.
Well, he hits this one in the air to the left field corner and foul.
Spencer Strider just didn't have the command, the life that he needed. It seemed like he lost it after that first batter that he just threw 3 straight fastballs by. Hopefully he's healthy down the road.
Arm soreness is what we were told about Strider leaving this game tonight, so we'll see if that is a serious issue for the Braves or something that is just day to day for Strider. And certainly with his history, that's something that you worry a lot about.
Very concerned. The body language, you're tilting your head back, over that feeling like not again. So
27 years old, Strider had Tommy John surgery while he was in college at Clemson. Swing and a miss, strike 3 as Wins punches out for the 3rd time. Let's go downstairs. Here's Heidi.
Tonight's odds are courtesy of BetMGM. We're looking at the NL Rookie of the Year odds. The Mets have 2 players in the top 5 according to odds makers. Tonight's starter Nolan McLean and center fielder Carson Benj. Now Carlos Mendoza said the most impressive thing about Benj is his ability to just flush and move on. Whether it's bad play in the field or bad at bat, he moves on, doesn't let it linger. Said that's a sign of a true professional, guys.
2 outs here in the 7th inning. Carson Benj has certainly been a shot in the arm for the Mets. Coming up, making the team out of spring training as a rookie. The balls, 2 strikes on Mauricio Dubon.
Benj athletic,
ability. We were here when they first couple days after they called him up, and the shot in the arm, route running, speed on the bases as well.
Well, he's been really good in that leadoff spot too, which they needed, especially after Lindor went down. 1 ball, 2 strikes, the count on Dubon, who's 0 for 3 today. Braves have been held to just 4 hits in this one, although Nolan McLean only lasted 4 innings to start. Dubon's down on strikes. Brazoban has struck out 4 of the 5 that he's faced. It's been a big night for Bo Bichette. He's tied his career high with 6 RBIs. He'll bat in the bottom of the 7th.
Home of the Giants, home of the Jets, home of the Yankees, home of the Mets. Trying to disrespect.
StatCast powered by Google Cloud. Quite a night for Bo Bichette. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. And the Mets hoping there's more where that came from.
Yeah, you're seeing the surge right now, the focus, being able to cover the baseball, the breaking ball on the pull side, and the fastball. But we've seen this movie before, just not in the Mets uniform. And if they want to surge back, he's got to be in the middle of it with Juan Soto and company.
And the count 2 balls, no strikes. We talked about the last Met to have a 3-homer game was Lindor in 2021. 2 balls, no strikes here on Bichette, who's at 2 tonight. Fouls that one back. I was remembering a 3-homer game here at Citi Field in 2015. It was the day before the All-Star break when Kurt Neuenhuis had a 3-homer game. And the odd thing wasn't even that Neuenhuis, who was a utility player for his career, hit 3 in a game. It was that no Met had ever hit 3 home runs in a home game in any of their previous ballparks, the Polo Grounds or Shea Stadium, until Neuenhuis did that day.
Not strong, nobody?
No, not at home. Here's a liner to right field. This one hit plenty hard, but stays in the yard as Yastrzemski catches that one away.
They were so hyped up, they didn't knock Smider in. I all out. I love it though, man. Crazy things can happen in this sport. And so much was talk about the catastrophic start of that locker room, and Carlos Mendoza just staying steady and saying, I believe we just got to get some guys healthy. Losing Juan Soto for a little bit and losing Lindor. Still got a long marathon away, and get some consistencies in that rotation and some key guys offensively. Anything's possible.
1 ball, 1 strike on Soto, who blasted a homer in the 1st inning. 15 home runs now for Soto this year. He was very near a 40-40 year last year. He stole 38 bases to go with his career high 43 home runs last season. There's another smash into right field. A base hit for Soto, his 2nd tonight. And Soto's on with 1 out here in the 7th inning. Well, the Mets are trying to get it figured out. They'll play the Braves here this week, and then they go to Cincinnati and Philadelphia. You see that random off day on a Friday, that's because of the World Cup being in Philadelphia. They've got 2 series with the Phillies and 2 with the Braves in their near future, including this one. 13 games out of the next 23, including tonight against their top 2 division rivals. The ball's and a strike on Jared Young. So the time is now for the Mets. We talked about it where they were 2 years ago in this pretty much exact position. And all of a sudden they were in the National League Championship Series by the end of that year.
Yeah, they're going to have a fight. Especially, we talk about the division. We talked about that earlier. The Marlins are better. The Nats can hit. The Braves obviously are the pacer. Kyle Schwarber in Philadelphia, you're going to have to show the ability to score runs consistently. You're going to be in trouble because the rest of the division, they can hit the baseball.
1 strike on Jared Young. This play over there, Soto has not been the same base stealer this year as he was last year. 6 stolen bases this year for Soto. A pretty big lead now, though, as Olson holds him at first. And Soto takes off. Bouncing ball right to the second base bag, though, and it's still a double play to win the inning. Play Ball is baseball's global youth initiative to highlight the fun and accessible ways to play our great game. To learn more, including how to find a league near you, scan the QR code or go to playball.org and follow Play Ball on X, Facebook, and Instagram. It's a rolling tonight, up 7-3 on the Braves. Bo Bichette with a 6 RBI game, hitting 2 home runs in the first 2 innings tonight, including a grand slam off of Spencer Strider, who left this game in the 4th inning with arm soreness. As Michael Harris fouling one off his foot. Brooks Raley, the veteran out there for the Mets. He's been outstanding so far this year.
Yeah, lefty on lefty, high leverage guy. Excellent off speed. Won't overpower you with the fastball, but he can spin it.
So far, the Mets bullpen has been strong tonight in 3 innings after McClain only went 4. Really trying to keep that going. Harris dumps one toward left, and it's a base hit, dropping in front of Soto. So Michael Harris trying to jumpstart the Braves here late, singles to lead off the 8th inning.
23 come from behind wins. That's the most in baseball, so the Braves are never out of it. Lefty on lefty fastball. Just learning that ability to cut down that swing and just hit the ball the other way. You want to see a guy hit 300? That's a guy that swings to all fields.
Matt Olson stands in now. Olson homered off the left-hander Cionel Perez his last time. He's always continued to have power, and regardless if it's a left-handed pitcher or a right-handed pitcher, really has never mattered much to Olson.
And again, lefty on lefty, he knows he has enough power, especially to the left side of the field. Allows the baseball to travel deep.
That's a strike. 0-2 the count. Raley, ever since joining the Mets, this is his 4th season with them, has been very good. Missed some time because of Tommy John surgery. 1 ball, 2 strikes, but a 2.24 ERA for Raley as a member of the Mets. Off the glove of the catcher Torrens. That'll give Harris an extra base. See how that scored as Harris is now in scoring position. This is Olson's homer his last time.
Yeah, he covered that breaking ball, took it, and all of a sudden squared up the fastball middle and turned around 97 with ease.
9th season with at least 20 home runs. Rounds this one to the right side. Raley has to cover first base. It's the flip from the first baseman Young to retire Olson as Harris goes to 3rd. Matt Olson's 851 consecutive games played, making the 5th longest streak in the expansion era. He'll cross 1,000 next year if this streak continues. He'll join Billy Williams, Miguel Tejada, Steve Garvey, and Ripken in that regard, at least going back to 1961. The rigors of playing every single day, and Matt Olson just continues to plug his name in that lineup day in and day out for the last handful of years now.
You know, every time I look at that stat, though, no one is breaking Cal Ripken's record. I don't think anybody's going to get close. I know you love numbers and you're very good at that, but I just think those are one of the records in this sport that is going to be untouchable.
2,634. Why even bother to break that record? It is insurmountable. Yeah, Ripken paid a lot of toll to do that. You know, Ripken also has the record for innings consecutively played. He would never even come out of a game.
I mean, at 1,000, what's the pressure? 1,500, and then you get to 2,000. It's like, it's your call. You know, man.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Albies flips one up the middle and has a base hit. He snuck it right past the Mets middle infield. Bichette couldn't reach it. Harris comes in. The Braves aren't done here yet. It's 7-4 as Ozzie Albies drives in a run.
Line drive in the book. Harris got that going, taking that extra base, and all of a sudden that is a sinker. Moving almost a yard off the plate and doing whatever he can to drive that run and get this game closer into striking distance.
So Brooks Raley gives up the run here as the Braves go to their bench. Jorge Mateo will be the pinch hitter in place of Dominic Smith, giving Atlanta a right-handed option here against Raley. As the Mets send their pitching coach Justin Willard out to the mound. Just for a quick scouting report here on Mateo, who's done a nice job this year, batting .300.
11 RBIs, 4 home runs, so the power element is there as well.
He's a good fielder. He runs well. Just kind of been consistently offensively what's held him back over the years. You see teams, though, sometimes they will take a chance on someone who was once considered a prospect, and the way that Mateo was early in his pro career. Ball 1. He was in the Yankees system about a decade ago. And when he was traded to the A's, the Yankees got back Sonny Gray. I mean, he was really the main piece in that trade at the time. Two balls and no strikes on Mateo. So teams will take extra chances on a guy that had been labeled a prospect or a high draft pick. Those guys will get longer and more opportunities to prove themselves. And Jorge Mateo, at least from an offensive standpoint, starting to show his best work as a Brave. Strike 1 here from Raley.
Giving a young man like this, or veteran, excuse me, at this point, and being very direct about what his role is, and so he's always going to be ready in situations like this.
Takes a strike, although that one appeared to be off the plate. Mateo was just adjusting his helmet there. No challenge.
Felt like he wanted to, though.
2-2 now, the count. Pitch was off the plate. He would have won this challenge had he gone for it. And he kind of wanted to do it, maybe even thought he had done it. And there's ball 3. It has to be a little quicker than that, I guess. Count is full, 3-2 with Albies aboard at first. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. Mateo goes down on strikes. Raley has his first strikeout, 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, Raley always wanted to get to that breaking ball to try to finish Mateo, but this was up in the zone, but it had enough movement west to east. That pitch is so enticing to a hitter because he feels like he can get on top of that. Ball already elevated, but it had enough movement at the top of the zone to get him swing and miss.
Likely would have been ball 4 and he let it pass. Here's Riley taking a strike. Mateo, the guy who's never been much to walk either. We mentioned that with Dubon earlier, who looked like he had walked, just didn't challenge a pitch that maybe he should have with the bases loaded, and then struck out on a pitch that was even more off the plate. Two balls and 1 strike on Riley. Only 8 home runs this year for Riley. As he pops this one behind home plate, fouling out of play. 2-2.
Yeah, it seems like all ball game he's been hunting pitches in her half to really do damage, turning and burning.
3 straight 30-homer years. Led the National League in extra base hits a few years ago. Braves are hoping Riley can work through the trouble as he lines this one toward left center field, and that one is down for a base hit as it bounces to the wall. Albies gets to third. He's held up. Riley has an extra base hit, and the Braves will bring the tying run to the plate here in the top of the 8th.
Now that was a breaking ball out over the plate, a little bit lower. Excellent piece of hitting. Didn't try to do too much with that pitch. And with 2 outs, Albies is moving on contact. One big blast. New ball game.
With the lefty Yastrzemski due up, the Braves will go to the right-handed batting Eli White, and that will force the hand of Carlos Mendoza as their closer Devin Williams is up in the bullpen. So Williams will enter this game here in the 8th inning, trying to hold a 3-run lead as the Braves have the tying run at the plate. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV is presented by Goodyear, and in part by Best Western Hotels and Resorts. Life's a trip. Make the most of it at bestwestern.com. Well, here's Devin Williams in a game that is maybe a little bit of uncharted water for him this year. He has not recorded more than 3 outs in a game this season. He would need 4 to get to the finish line tonight. He's rarely pitched in back-to-back games. This is just the 3rd time all year after working yesterday. And he comes in with the tying run at the plate as Eli White will pinch hit for Mike Yastrzemski.
Yeah, McClain exiting the ball game early, and I told you that Carlos Mendoza is going to have to deploy 4 to 5 arms to really bridge this game. And rough start to the season, had a 10.2 ERA. With a 3 ERA over his last 16 appearances, so big spot for Williams.
Williams in the game yesterday threw 16 pitches to notch his 9th save. It's a called strike. White didn't seem to like the call, but he didn't challenge it either. The Braves realize they still have their challenges.
Somebody didn't notify him because now we've seen 2 pitches in the inning that really could have swung that count.
No balls and 1 strike here on White as Williams misses with that fastball. And you could still make the case that Pete Alonso broke Devin Williams back in that playoff swing in 2024. Williams did not have a good season for the Yankees last year. His ERA above 5 this year. Swing and a miss here. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's that air bending changeup though that in theory is the difference maker for Devin Williams.
Yeah, the ability to get swing and miss. That changeup is so important, but you still have to keep the hitter off that changeup with that fastball as well.
Williams has not had a 4-out save in over 3 years. Could be asked to get one here tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes on White. And a ground ball down the line. That's off the glove of Beatty. It's a base hit to score a run. Albies comes in. Riley holds at third. At the very least, Beatty saves another run from scoring. But it's 7-5 as Eli White drives in a run.
Excellent job by White to be able to cover that changeup once again. He's shortened the swing, and Beatty doing everything he can with full extension. Almost looked like he overdived over that ball.
I'm not sure the result would have been any different had he fielded it cleanly. Might have had a play at first, but that was it. As Beatty took that one off the wrist. Now the Braves have the tying run on base. The go-ahead run is due up, and it's Rowdy Tellez, veteran first baseman, off the bench here to bat for Ha-Seong Kim. Tellez was added to the roster when Acuna went down the other day, and well, we know what Walt Weiss is hoping for here from Tellez.
Absolutely. 22 RBIs in 50 ball games with Texas last season in the second half. He has some power.
He certainly has the power to change this game. It's 7-5 as Tellez takes ball one. And the Braves have virtually emptied their bench with the exception of their other catcher, Sandy Leon. You see Mateo as a pinch hitter, and now White, and now Tellez. That's a strike. Mateo was the pinch hitter for Smith, who has been the DH tonight. Now Tellez batting for Kim. I would imagine the Braves would have Mateo take over at short and just lose their DH for the rest of the game. 1 ball, 1 strike on Tellez. The go-ahead run is up for Atlanta. They were down 7-2. And now Tellez looks for the strike to make it 1-2.
And being aggressive. You see Williams right now challenging him with the fastball. He feels like Tellez is looking for this changeup. Now you have options because you're ahead in the count.
Braves sending Tellez up to be a power hitter here late in this game. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And it's upstairs, 2-2. Tellez hit 35 home runs as a teammate of Devin Williams on the Brewers in 2022. Former teammates squaring off as division rivals here tonight in a big spot. 2-2 on Tellez. Big cut there as Tellez stays alive.
Very difficult in high leverage situations when a teammate that's been very close to you, he gave him a little head nod. He knows you're Tellez. Wants to get to that changeup. Williams did a good job of sneaking a couple fastballs by him.
The last time Tellez batted in a big league game was last September, and he hit a pinch hit, go-ahead 3-run homer. That's what Walt Weiss wants to see here with Tellez batting for Kim. 2 balls, 2 strikes in a 2-run game. And Tellez pops it up. Beatty and Bichette go to get it. Soto comes in, and Soto makes the catch as Williams ends the inning. But the Braves get a couple. Now down by only 2. It's 7-5 New York. Follow the MLB season with the Apple Sports app. Get real-time scores and play-by-play straight to your iPhone lock screen. Fast and simple. Download the Apple Sports app for free on the App Store today. Gary Sheffield, his 500th home run as a Met. Travis d'Arnaud caught for both teams in a World Series. Bartolo Colon entertained the masses as a Met and a Brave, and many other teams as well.
Big Sexy's the best.
Braves do put Mateo into play shortstop as White stays into play right field. And with that, just kind of a scorekeeping thing, really. But the DH is gone for Atlanta. Here's a fly ball to center, hit well. As Ewing gave it a bit of a ride, but Harris grabs that 1 away. So Ritchie now goes into the lineup, although he would take over Tellez in that 8th spot, which is the last spot due up at the moment. So the Braves could pinch hit out of that if they need to, if this game goes into the 10th inning at some point.
Excellent job by the young man Ritchie, adding some stability, some length, giving the Braves lineup a chance to chip away and put it in striking distance.
Well, this is exactly what the Braves could have hoped for when Strider left this game in the 4th inning, that Ritchie would just finish it. 2 balls and no strikes on Marcus Semien. He has started throughout his minor league career.
Catcher's challenging the ball.
Braves challenge this one.
Ball's confirmed. Atlanta has 1 remaining.
Braves lose a challenge when they really need that for the top of the 9th.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wins won a few earlier, but Went against his own last name right there. 2 balls, no strikes, and now 3-0 on Simeon.
That actually looked closer than the last one.
You see Strider 3+ innings before leaving with arm soreness. Ritchie has kept the Braves in this game ever since. 4 1/3 innings with only 2 hits allowed and 4 strikeouts.
Like McClain, there's a run to that fastball and the ability to go east and west with that so far.
3-2, and well, if there is any need for Strider to miss a start based on what happened tonight, well, they've got somebody who can just go right into it, ready to go here in the rookie J.R. Ritchie. Walk to Simeon. As the Mets get a man on here in the 8th inning. Mets remaining schedule, the hardest strength of schedule in the majors. At least they don't have to go to the West Coast again. They've already had 4 West Coast road trips in the first 2.5 months of the season. So they'll play all their games at a reasonable hour moving forward.
Which will matter down the stretch. And
well, it'll matter to Howie. He's got a bedtime to uphold.
But again, nice to see the offensive outburst today. Love to see my man Howie, the legend.
And the retiring Howie Rose is hanging up the headset after this season. Yeah, you're on TV. Well, wave to us.
I don't do his job.
Ripped and off the glove of Olsen. Albies is there to back it up. Shovel it back to Olsen, and out at first is Beatty.
No panic on that right side between Albies and Olsen, and one of the rare times you ever see a ball get under his glove. But knocked it down enough, and Albies knew exactly Beatty had enough speed. Nice little shovel pass.
Oh, it's hit hard too. 99 off the bat of Beatty. Three on the putout at first. Now 2 away here in the 8th inning. Looking ahead to the top of the 9th, Atlanta will have their best hitters up after the catcher wins, leads off. They'll have Dubon, Harris, and then Olsen. That's if anybody gets on to get to Olsen. Nobody up in the Mets bullpen, so Devin Williams will attempt his first 4-out save in over 3 years. 1 ball, 1 strike on Melendez.
Being able to score this many runs against your rival, and you know the Braves have the capability to tie this ball game in a blink of an eye, so they need to be able, if you're the Mets, close this game out.
An insurance run would not hurt the Mets' cause in that regard, as they have 2 outs in this inning, but there's Simeon at second base looking to extend this lead. Mets scored 6 in the first 2 innings. Bo Bichette has driven in 6 tonight, including 2 home runs, one of them a grand slam. 2-2 now on Melendez, who has 2 runs scored tonight. This game started about an hour and 15 minutes later than it was supposed to because of a thunderstorm. I don't know how many New York sports fans can sleep tonight anyway, with the Knicks potentially winning the whole thing tomorrow.
Like Christmas Eve. Anticipation. That's going to be fun. I know I'm going to be watching.
Team USA was a winner tonight in the World Cup. Took care of Paraguay 4-1. 3-2 on Melendez. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Well, good job by J.R. Ritchie. 5 innings out of the bullpen, keeping the Mets off the board. He gives the Braves a fighting chance to come back in the 9th.
Lopez wants it away.
And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! And the Mets lead 3-2. One of the more dramatic swings Mike Piazza has ever taken.
An emotional matchup in September of 2001. The first game here in Queens after 9/11. Howie Rose with that call of Mike Piazza's home run off of Steve Carsey. Piazza's number 31 retired. And they have Bob Murphy and Ralph Kiner's microphones up there. They should put Howie's microphone up there before it's all said and done. Gary Cohen right alongside him as well. First pitch here in the ninth. First out of the ninth as Austin Wynns lines out to Marcus Semien.
Huge out for Williams. Had to be able to keep the base path clean. Wynns has had a tough day, and he was hunting that fastball, squares it up, right back up the box. But Semien playing very close to the bat. Easy money.
Now one out, and this is where the Braves are hoping to give Matt Olson one more swing. They have Dubon and then Harris coming up. Dubon's 0 for 4 tonight in the leadoff spot. As Williams fires in strike one. It was one of Howie's greatest calls. Another that stands out was that ball Pete Alonso hit off of Williams in the playoffs in 2024. As Dubon bounces one foul. Now Williams as a Met trying to earn a 4-out save. Mets 7, Braves 5 here in the top of the ninth. One ball, 2 strikes on Dubon. This is the first of the 13 matchups this season. They'll play them all within the next 2 months. The Mets are going to make their move. Well, needs to start against their division rivals, certainly.
You're going to find out what you're really made of, and nobody's going to feel sorry for you across that diamond, so you got to start playing good baseball right now.
1 ball, 2 strikes. This was the wild card game in 2024, the 3rd game of the series. With the Mets down in the 9th inning, Pete Alonso got just enough to put it over that wall and right. Chef's kiss against Devin Williams and the Brewers.
He was screaming once that ball came off that bat. He knew it wasn't coming back.
Dubon bounces one foul. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Williams at one time one of the most dominant relievers in baseball. In that season he was excellent for the Brewers, as he had been really his entire time in Milwaukee. Dubon fights off another. He had a 1.83 ERA as a member of the Brewers. His ERA since then 4.93. Pitching with the Yankees last year, now the Mets.
And that home run, ever since that home run, you look at his career and you're like, man, has he ever gotten over that home run? This for the confidence of competing in the strike zone.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Dubon. That's upstairs 2-2. J.R. Ritchie outstanding out of the Braves bullpen tonight. 5 innings behind Spencer Strider. The Braves trying to reward that here by battling all the way back. They were down 7-2 at one point. Dubon fouling off a bunch of pitches here. This will be the 9th pitch of the at bat. 7-5. The Braves scored 2 in the 8th. Yanks one foul.
Well, he did that because if he didn't, it was going to hit his knee. I mean, that was amazing that he even got the barrel to that ball.
Dubon's up there to swing.
He's got a lot of pitches inner half off the plate that he's covered. He's already bailing out. You see that front hip clear early. A little bit of cricket.
Punches this one out of play to the right side. So still 2-2. 21 pitches for Williams. He's only thrown more than 22 one time this year. That was against the Reds, May 27. He threw 34 in one inning. He walked the bases loaded, but also had 3 strikeouts and picked up his 8th save. And Dubon fouls off another. Now you see the frustration on Williams.
Yeah, pitch type is key. And command and trust in a slider being able to go east to west. Dubon knows if it's a changeup and it has a hump out of his hand, he can slow down his swing to foul it off. Williams not enough velocity with the fastball, so he's showing the ability to cover both thus far.
The 12th pitch of the at bat, another foul ball.
You see, and so these are one of these good situations for the hitter to be in between. He has enough bat speed to be able to cover the fastball because the velocity is anywhere from 92 to 94. Maybe he sees a hump in that changeup out Williams' hand. He knows that's that pitch.
Now Dubon is a battler. He's tough to strike out. He's even tougher to walk.
That changeup has to land on top of the plate. He will offer at it, but it cannot reach the catcher's mitt. It's got to be almost like a slider down in the dirt to get that chase.
Williams trying to put him away. And finally, Dubon punches one to right for a base hit. So the Braves will get their big hitters up, including Michael Harris representing the tying run after Mauricio Dubon goes toe-to-toe with Devin Williams. 14 pitches and a base hit.
Excellent at bat. He fouled off every single pitch in every single part of that strike zone, even out of the strike zone. Showing the ability to get on top of that. Game time at the home plate.
He fouled off 9 pitches with 2 strikes. Now here's Harris. Single and a run scored his last time. Ball 1. Barring a double play, Matt Olson will bat in this 9th inning.
In this situation, after grinding against Dubon, I would like to see a mound visit for Williams just to gather his breath.
1 ball, no strikes. 2 things here for Williams that he rarely does. Pitching on back-to-back days and trying to pick up a 4-out save. He's already thrown his 2nd most pitches in an outing here tonight. Still has 2 outs left to get. 1 ball, 1 strike on Harris. Swing and a miss. That was the best changeup we've seen.
Less of a hump to give that indicator that that's a changeup in the depth down in the zone.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Blew the fastball by him.
Ball set up by that changeup, though, down. Force Harris to speed up, and all of a sudden, excellent four-seamer tying him up.
First strikeout for Williams and a big 2nd out here in the 9th inning. The Mets try to hold down this lead. It's Matt Olson who homered earlier. He's 2nd in the National League in home runs, and he was trying to tie it up there as he comes up empty on the fastball. Olson, the tying run at the plate. 7-5 Mets, 2 outs in the 9th. And it's 0-2.
Uptick in velocity. Williams taking it to another gear.
Olson has never faced Williams before this. Williams has come right at him with 2 fastballs. Trying to finish a 4-out save. Trying to get the Mets a win in their first game against Atlanta this year. It's 0-2. Foul off of Torrens, who got hit right in the mask.
Forcing fastball middle, and Olsen said, man, I just missed that one. That was more in his power zone. Torrens catching the brunt of that.
Count remains 0-2 on Matt Olson. Braves trying to avoid their third straight loss. It'll be just the second time this season they've lost 3 in a row. Mets trying to even up their homestand at 2-2. It's 0-2 on Olsen. And a swing and a miss, strike 3. Williams got him with the changeup. He gets 4 outs in a save for the first time in over 3 years. And the Mets hold on thanks to Bo Bichette's big night to beat the Braves 7-5.
Well, first and foremost, you have to give love and credit to the bullpen, especially Mendoza deploying the right guys to win the right matchups. But that man right there, Bo Bichette, having a breakout day, 6 RBIs, a grand slam, 2 home runs, and obviously Juan Soto, their leader, a focal point, getting his foot down as well.
The Mets have started to hit the long ball. 26 homers in their last 14 games. 3 of them tonight, but they needed Devin Williams at the finish line tonight to close it out against Atlanta's big boppers, including Matt Olson.
Yeah, he dug deep and went right after Olson. Excellent fastball in the outer half, 94 both times. Almost missed middle end, got away with that one. Then the nasty